Hello, I'm the curator and this is today's item. Now, if you might remember back from when I started doing this, the first item I ever did was the Newnes electrical pocketbook, and Newnes obviously have more than one pocketbook. They were big on pocket items. Pocket items isn't really a subset I'd ever thought I'd be talking about, but anyway, Amateur Astronomy Pocket Skyguide Manual. Mark R. Chartrand III. You'll know that is serious business when you're dealing with a man named that. The cover's slightly falling off because it got sat on a couple of times, I think. So I'll just put it to one side. Executive Director, Mr. Mark R. Chartrand III, the US National Space Institute. Illustrated by Helmut K. Wimmer, whom I think might be German. So time zones of the world. But yeah, similar to the other one, there are a lot of words I don't understand. But it is quite a sort of in-depth volume. As you see, it's a big, thick thing. It talks about stellar evolution, turning from, nebula to, again, nebula, which condenses down into the sun. Our sun is actually tiny compared to other suns. We've got, I think it's called a yellow dwarf, our sun. White dwarf, supergiants, supernova. Only very big stars become supernovas. Some of them become novas. After that, they might become a black hole or a neutron star, pulsar. It's got a diagram by Hertzsprung and Russell. Yeah, there's a reason why Hertzsprung was first, is that it's got a more interesting name. That's wrong, I'm sorry. Size of sun compared to other things. Variable stars, which change size and colour. Our Milky Way, nebula. We talk about all galaxies. It is basically, everything you need to know. It's got a list of the brightest stars, tables of constellations, all sorts of lovely tables, northern constellations, spring, so it's got all talking about that. But after you've read all this, all the interesting bits, it gets into the sort of reference guide at the back where you have all the constellations, like there's Andromeda, Cassiopeia, a couple I've never heard of, one of whom was a triangle, Lynx and Lyra, Pisces, there's one that we know, Sextans, Taurus, there's another one that we know, Ursa Minor, there's one that we know, Ursa Major, that's one that most people should know. It had at the time quite up-to-date solar eclipses, talking about the moon, meteorites, meteoroids, asteroids, and references and stuff at the back. But yes, it is a very in-depth guide. For being as pocket and small as it is. Even talks about timepieces, sundials and such. Some of these themselves, I mean, that is certainly something that I could talk about on this channel, whatever that is. As is that. It's one of those, and pocket dial. All these are just cracking things I shall have to look out for, because they would definitely be interesting. Even talks about basic optics. Yeah, it talks about how mirrors and prisms work, and how light is refracted and reflected, because telescopy is involved in this. It's got a lot to it, which is surprising for such a little book. It's thick, but it's still small. It has to fit in pockets after all. So is it worth getting? Yes, it's just talking on mechanically, it's a quite sturdy book. The cover fell off, but that was through my own error rather than it being terrible. And it is incredibly in depth. I mean, there's not a lot in here if you're an amateur that you wouldn't need to know. I mean, yes, it is an older version, and we probably know a bit more about it now. I mean, this one was from 1984, I believe it says. This edition published 1984, first published 1982. Yeah. 89p. I can't remember if that's how much I got it for. It's quite a while that I've had this. But yes, it is definitely, especially if you are interested in astronomy, it's definitely, you know, something to get, even if it's like the electrical pocketbook. Is good to see like the difference between what we knew then and what we knew now. Yeah, that's astronomy, not astrology. And if you believe in astrology, then yeah, I don't think you should be allowed on this channel, really. I have to work on finding out ways to ban astrologers. Yeah. Yeah, that's not going to upset astrologer people at all. Bye.